infrastructure. We are aware that some level of work is being done to renovate several schools. Can you tell us about the state of things, which schools and where we are having this work done and improving the infrastructure? Because we have reports of several schools across the state in several communities where people still sit on the floors, on the trees, leaking roofs, no chairs, and so on and so forth.
I'll tell you this, yes. We have just completed renovating about, or remodeling, and in some cases a complete building of new ones of about 60. Last week, Friday, if you follow up, you'll see that I was in 3 schools. Two in Ishokbo, and one in Elele.
Okay.
Elele, Community Secondary School, Elele School 1. Then I was in St. Patrick's School, Ishokbo. And now, these are schools that we have just done. The week before, I was in Alakaya, where we have just completed 12 classroom. I was here in Ozoba, where we also did 6 classroom. I went to Rumekini, where we did 6 classroom. I also, same day.
Which of the schools in Rumekini?
The secondary school. Yes,
okay.
yes. We also did that. The state of that school is very bad, I will tell you.
I have been there once.
Yes, it's very bad. But we just give them completed this 6 classroom block for them to use. But like I said, it's not adequate. I must accept that. I must accept that. But the general problem is that of sitting. We have identified a situation where, till this day, that teachers still write on chalkboards. It's abnormal. But you won't blame the universal basic education system in the state, because what has been applied is like a one-cap-fit-all policy from the federal government. You must understand that the UBEC is managed by the state and the federal. It's not a complete state funded board. And so a lot of time, the federal policy supersedes. And of course, the federal procurement law says that wherever federal government puts in more than 35%,
they technically
over, yes. So what they do is that once they have a policy at the federal level, it's expected to fit all. But in our last meeting with the new executive secretary, we've made her to understand that that is not real. We believe that in Rivers State, for instance, we have done some infrastructural upgrading, but we don't have enough seats.
Can you give us instances where this bureaucracy is making your work much difficult?
Yeah, like I've said now, the provision in the action plan talks about less than 15% on infrastructure. But if you ask me now, I haven't gone round. We have gone round over 300 schools since I assumed office. You will find out that there are fundamental problems. Seats. You have seats problem. You have boards problem. You have a lot of writing materials problem. And of course, education is free at this level. So you don't expect the students to pay.
Which was going to be my question,
Yes.
how the day-to-day running, because we
Yes.
have most of the principals say, how do we get chalks or even markers or even run the day-to-day activities of the school?
Fine, that is the point I'm making. So you see, so it means therefore that our expenditure should be increased from that 15% to a neighborhood of even 50. All right, and that changes should be dynamic and made flexible, depending on how well we're able to address a particular problem that is identified in this academic section.
Okay.
But that is not the situation. It is fixed. It is fixed.
But Doc, we heard from some reports, and should I say grapevine, but reports would be most appropriate, that even that 15% is not what gets to the board. And the councils are also supposed to make certain contributions with how they work with the board to manage these schools. Is that the case? The report we got was that sometimes it's about 5%, at most 10% in some cases. What's the true situation?
But
how is the management?
I'll tell you this, what we have done. The council has actually, the immediate outgone chairman has actually contributed positively in infrastructural development. I have had meeting with at least 5 of them, one-on-one, seeking for intervention. The Kwere local government chairman immediate pass. If you go there, he has about 6 schools he's remodeling completely. Emowa is doing about 8. I know that. I've been to Awuda West. where I commissioned a school that was built from scratch to finishing by the council chairman. I do know that Degema local government wrote to me, giving me, asking for permission to visit schools so that he will intervene. So they have done well, I can say that. They have really done well in terms of their intervention. Now, in terms of the percentage, no, that is not the issue. Like I said, people will perceive that because, one, you are talking about the real possessing power of the naira has dropped. So what 15,000 naira, for instance, ordinarily was able to buy 3 years ago cannot be the same in this period. All right? But what I'm saying is this. Now, let's get this fact very clear. If school system in Kano need new infrastructures, we may not need that new infrastructure. Like I said, my concern now is seats.
So back to the bureaucracy problem.
Yes. My concern is seats. But I'm already constrained by the percentage approved for supplies of seats. And again, it's unfortunate, I must say, it's unfortunate. I've said this several times in several fora, that there appears to be an attack on educational infrastructure in Rivers State.
How so?
I will tell you so. Because if you go to all the schools, now, the windows have been carted away. The chairs will be broken, brand new chairs will be broken, just to go to people will pick up the metal for sale. Roofs, fans, electric cables. So there is an attack. And that's why I had this constant meeting with local government chairman to see if they can provide what I call educational team in all wards, because these schools are cited.
That would secure
yes,
the facility.
to secure the infrastructure.
What's the role of the community in all of this? And to also add, how long ago did you notice or did you perceive this attack?
Well, I'll tell you, since I assumed office, it may be ongoing, but since I assumed office, it's been something terrible. It will be discouraging, therefore, even to ask for a new building. There are some buildings we just put in, go there, it is gone, including the roof. So community ought to be part of this. And that's what I'm talking about. If you go to Township School 1, in the heart of town, that infrastructure has been messed up. If I go to Body Camp, and inside the barrack, it's been messed up by hoodlums or vandals. But my problem is that in the heart of Port Harcourt, in a military camp, so there appears to be a very high level orchestration of attack on educational infrastructures in Rivers State.
There are many that would hear this now and wonder, and there are those that would say, well, you have a point, but for many it still would not explain why the rot in the education system has not been dealt with as much as possible. And some would even say more needs to be done by you and your board members to improve the state of our infrastructure. Now that you've highlighted some of these things, have adequate complaints been made to relevant authorities, and what steps have been taken?
Yeah, what we have done, our approach, like that's what I said. That's what I said. I have had to have one-on-one meeting with the council chairman, because there is a lot of empowerment processes in all the councils. Some of those empowerment is without work being done. Why not direct them as education facility watchers or protectors? Tell the councillor to come up with a team to say, look, Birabi, for instance, I'm just saying, primary school is in Ward 4, Bori. Councillor, from today, if anything is stolen from this, all right, we're going to hold you and your team. All right? Because, yes, what is required is to set up employee security personnel. Yes, what is expected is to put a perimeter fence. But even if you put a perimeter fence, people can jump over it and steal. But once there are watchers, there are those who are in charge for that purpose. I'm sure it will. But they are...
Sorry, but we have to hold you there, Doc. Let's take a very short commercial. We'll come back and you continue with that train of thought. Stay with us.
Nigeria Info. Right back after
With me in the studio is the UPEC Board Chairman, Alabo, Dr. David Briggs. We've now had a great conversation telling us what he's been up to and what the board has been up to in the state of infrastructure in the education sector in Rivers State and some of the hindrances and limitations that they've been facing. There's still plenty of questions to ask, even though we have limited time. I know many of you have been sending messages in on Facebook, on WhatsApp. We'll also open the phone lines and get you to, throw your questions in, and we'll respond to as much as we can. But before we go back there, I would like Doc to round off what he was saying before the commercial. You were trying to explain to us the situation and some of the difficulties and challenges that you're facing. I would like to add one to that. Off the air, I was asking a question that I intended to ask next. The allegations have been made about deliberate attempts to malign the southern region of the country in the education sector and the policies that are made by government. Have you experienced or noticed any of such, and is there any truth in those things?
That is something that inevitably, we experience in this country. Sometimes I do say that we tend to operate in two laws. As an individual. Until recently, you find out that if somebody with a criminal mind is arrested from the south, the person's photograph and faces is already on the air. But those who are arrested as Boko Haram persons in the north, they turn them, and it's only their back you see. So you see the operation of two laws, separate in the country for same citizenship. Now, but I won't say that, yes. The policy there is equality of the state first. At the UBEC national level, equality of the state. If it is decided that it's 5 million, it's 5 million for all the states. But where you see those level of discrimination, I don't want to use the word discrimination, but on evenness, is where there are intervention funds.
Okay.
There are intervention funds where the national body has to directly intervene. Such interventions are more in the northern than in the southern. I must tell you that. Now, again, even these developmental partners that comes, like UNICEF, USAID, when they're operating before the Trump, the most of the activities are more in the northern part than in the southern part. But if you also look at the funding of the Almajiri education, we have here in the Migrant Fisherman program, Migrant Fisherman School program.
We have that in Rivers State.
Yes, we have.
And we have schools for that.
Yes, we have about 6 of them.
Where are they located?
Now, we have one in Bonny. We have one in Akukutoro that I do know. There's one in Andoni. Akukutoro, in fact, I just had a discussion with the headmistress last week, Saturday, in Oluoma, Community Secondary School, Oluoma. All right, they are there. But there are no provision for them. But while in the UBEC scheme, there's provision for Almajiri students. In fact, as I speak, there's a fund that has been lying down that we can't touch because there's some level of international best practices in expenditure in the UBEC. When a particular amount of money is released for a particular project, you cannot vary it for another. You cannot.
So how have we been running the fishermen's migrant school?
So that's why what we do now from our impress, we attend to them. All right? If we want to do anything, we can now put them in our action plan. That's what I'm trying to do to assist now, because we are going to go and defend our action plans maybe by next month.
Okay.
We have to put it. But there's no intervention program for them.
Well, we can go on and on with this, but time will not allow us. So let me just throw in one more question, which is, we can't have you in the studio and not ask this question. I'm sure you already have an idea, but let's start from workers' welfare and employment of workers, which has been all over the news for a long time. What's the situation with that?
Well, in terms of workers' welfare, the governor is doing well. A lot of people don't understand that the board don't pay salaries. Salaries are paid by the Minister of Finance. Yes, but they act based on the information given to them, like their payroll and all that. Okay. Now, but if you look at it, salaries have been very prompt. When we came in, we have what they call the SDs. The SDs were like the education secretaries at the local government area. All right? When we came in, they are not giving impress. Okay? And I asked, how do they function? But since I assumed office, on monthly basis, they receive an impress
For
them to run the offices at the local government level.
Okay.
Now, the directors in the board, all of them also receive impress for them to function well in the board.
Who gets impress across to the principals of the schools?
Now we have made that recommendation, and I believe that the governor will definitely, I repeat that, definitely attend to that. Recall I was chairman of Senior Secondary Schools Board. I wrote the memo, and it was approved, and they started receiving impress. Until some of them started misbehaving. Sometimes you see the reaction is a function of the attitude of the recipient of such fund. Because an impress is not an extra salary. It is for you to run a particular institution and to ensure that it's being run and administered effectively. But some of them saw it as an extra salary, and they can't give account. And it's retirable. You must retire every kobo received and spent. Ask them to retire. No, it's not possible. But we have written to the governor, and he has given it a consideration, and I'm sure soon they will begin to receive.
Okay. Then with the employment situation?
We have not employed. I'm sure maybe where you're going to is the 1,000 teachers.
Yes, and there were accusations that they have auxiliary teachers. I don't know if anything of such
I'll tell you this. Like
exists.
I said, it's still something that is being processed administratively. There were 6 issues that has affected that release, but I can mention the 3 lighter one and leave the other one for official thing. Yes, 1,000 teachers were approval was given for the employment of 1,000 teachers, and the immediate past board carried out that in 2023. We came in rather about August 2024, meaning it has taken almost 1 year before we came in. But they couldn't do their biometrics because issues were raised, and we looked at it. Andrew, it is very unfortunate that out of the 1,000, if you talk about equality of the local government first, let's look at it, because employment must have a specific criteria. And one of them is the equality of local government. Every local government should have at least 25 first. That gives you 600. Then the remaining 400 can now be based on other criteria, either population size, merit, but at least. But the situation where a particular local government has 198, another local government is 7 persons employed. Like Emowa, I can tell you that Emowa was 168.
There will be, if you have the figures or numbers,
will
be yes.
Yes, Emowa was having like 168. No, 165 for Emowa. Obiakpo 151. Ikwere 90. All right, Bonny 7. Opupu 10. Emowa 13. It's irrational. But that apart, there are some persons that they have been asked to. I was in St. Patrick Primary School. I met some teachers there. They said they have been voluntary teachers for 5 years. And if an opportunity comes...
Okay, it wasn't the board who got any voluntary teachers to work.
They had papers to say that the board permit them to be.
Under the past administration.
Yes. And so if there's a provision, a vacancy, they should have the first right of refusal. I haven't kept somebody on voluntary basis for that number of years, and an opportunity comes. Now you employ somebody who is a volunteer, who has not, to replace. I mean, you can see. These are just 2. And there are a lot of other things, like I said, I'm keeping for administrative purposes. But I have mentioned to these young men that, look, please wait. We're into it, and God willing, we'll resolve it. It's not a matter that cannot be resolved. But unfortunately, they went on protest, and we have to find out what the administrators, because we are being directed. We are under administrative scrutiny too. So we'll see what that protest will lead to. But I know that that process wasn't very transparent, I must say.
The board held meetings with these people and gave them an idea of what the situation is?
Yes, I did. I met with them twice.
Okay.
And pleaded with them, please be patient. Look at the documents, they're on my table. But I still need to finalize this matter with His Excellency, the head of service. Because one employment, that's what they don't understand, one employment doesn't start and end with the employing institution. It goes through 4. If the board has to employ, after the employment, it has to go to the head of service office for biometrics, the secretary for ID card, Ministry of Finance for payment. If it's a thing that starts with 1 and ends with 1, it's a different matter. All right? So these 4 agencies must be directed at the same time to act, not one agent. You understand what I'm saying? But when the instruction is given to only one, then you have to make sure that all the 4 has the same directive to conclude. But these young men were not ready to listen.
So is it that this directive was not given to the other 4, or they are not in the know of the fact that this approval has been given and work with the board to facilitate
all of the agencies or all of the institutions or ministries that I've mentioned have their own observations that need to be reconciled.
Okay. They also have...
Yes, that need to be reconciled. And that's what I told them, that we have to reconcile all, and so that we're all in the same page. And of course, they even went to the head of service and they did mention the same thing, that is aware. The Commission of Information came. I had him speak on. So please, we are doing something. But Andrew, let me ask you one thing. If somebody is running to you want to receive somebody, and the person is having a knife and at the same time a gun, you'll be a little bit... Teaching profession is a very patient profession. A very, very patient profession. You are going to educate somebody and impact knowledge on somebody. You have to be very patient.
Okay. Let's open the phone lines now. There's still plenty, but time would not allow us to dive into all of that. I'll allow the listener get the opportunity to also ask a few questions. I'm sure many are eager to. So let's ensure that the moment you get on, be very direct to your questions and try to keep it very short, very precise, and very civil. Thank you very much. The number to call is 0817-923-0007. 0817-923-0007. You can also call 0817-923-0002. Tell us your name, where you're calling from, and straight to the point, please. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, my brother, man. And I greet you, sir.
Thank you.
My name is Good News. I'm calling from my trial.
All right, straight to the point.
Mine is not just like question. When you were talking, you talked about the security of the schools. When the director was saying he will contact the local government chairman to assist. I could have provided a solution to that. And what if I ask me, I will say, then, sir, go beyond the local government chairman. Make sure, if the state government should make sure that those schools are tied to the chiefs and the CDCs and the presidents of the community, because they know how it happens. They know who comes in and who goes out. If the chiefs of the community, not the chiefs of the community, CDC chairman and the and it is tied to the possible get one person from each community to be community, the CDC, so that anything that goes wrong in any school, hold possible, because they should know how to protect the government facilities. I know how I did the Rumosi community that made Rumosi primary schools to today. I know what I personally did. That is that. It's the fact that the generator we laid, they looked at the generators, I even was the person's bed. It was members of the community that were doing it. But if it was tied to the chiefs and CDC, I assure you, it will be more secure than...
All right, good news.
My name is Good News.
Thank you. Magnus from Mount 3. Good morning.
Good morning, Drew.
Yeah, go on, Magnus.
And guest in the studio.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Thank you, yes.
I want to say that in as much as the ministry is trying her best to make sure that Rivers State gets quality education, I still want to draw the attention of the ministry to the dilapidated state of our government secondary schools across the state. And the last time I made mention of the government secondary school room, and just the one by Ajib Junction here. You don't need to enter inside the school. Just pass by the school. You see how dilapidated the school is. So I think the government need to revamp or do something about our schools. The last time we also talked about the quality of teachers they have. Some of those schools don't have teachers, and I'm happy that the commissioner have talked about it. And I think the government should, in as much as we cannot do without politics, set aside politics and see how they can be able to, deliver governance to Rivers.
All right, Magnus.
Mandate we gave to them when we elected them. So I want to appeal to them. If the schools within the urban cities can be this bad, what happened to school in the rural areas? So I think the ministry has a lot of work to do.
All right, Magnus, thank you very much. And just to also correct you, it's the board chairman with us here in the studio, not the commissioner for education. So you don't give the wrong qualification. Justice from Omudioga, good morning.
My friend Andrew, good morning.
You're welcome. Quickly, let's hear you.
Thank you to the guest in your studio. Andrew, before now, I have sent you pictures of public schools in my community. I don't know if you can send it to Dr. Alabo Briggs so he can see with his eyes what my people are passing through.
So if you can send again, Justice would be grateful.
I've sent it. I've sent it. Yeah, I just sent it this morning.
All right.
You can imagine a school that whenever they want to afford, the teachers will disperse the students because they cannot be able to contain what will happen. My people in Omudioga, we lack comfortable learning environment. Please, use their good office to see what you can do for Omudioga people. It's as if this government has forgotten us. Please, sir. Thank you, Andrew.
All right, thank you very much. We'll come back to more calls. We're just having slight issues with the phone lines, but several messages on Facebook. I'll take some of them here. Steve Rufus says, please help me ask the chairman if it is proper for an employment process under his leadership to take almost 2 years to arrive as conclusion. Is it not a true indication of some level of insincerity? That's from Steve Rufus. Ijoma Lillian say, please, sir, why the shortage of lesson notes, pen, markers, etc.? Paul says, what exactly is delaying the employment process? I think some of the questions with regards to the employment, my guest already had touched on touched on some of those issues already. If he wants to, he might repeat it himself. For State Secretariat. Okay, that's also from Facebook. Please, your comments on Facebook, try as much as possible to keep them very short and very direct. All right, back to the phone lines. In Rumokuta, Chima. Chima, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Isemi.
You're welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Board Chairman.
Thank you.
Mr. Isemi, our primary school is in siege. You understand? We are at war. This is a state of emergency. Now, do you remember our parents that attended school when it was a standard? Most of them attended school under trees. They weren't seats. They weren't a roof. But did you see how quality the education is or was? Because of teachers, the availability of teachers by then. We are talking about an emergency of teachers in a primary school, which is the bed of education. You understand? Now you kept people, you employ people that are supposed to teach, and you kept them for 2 years. A government telling for 2 years is still going in the process, and you're telling me you're doing roof. When I have understood that what is education or what is school, school is not the building. Not that the materials are right. It is the teacher that teaches. That is the school. If the government cannot give us this normal infrastructure or whatever, give us those teachers, please. The government of the day, we are.
All right, Chima, thank you very much. We'll take one more call and then we'll have to come over to my guest to respond to some of those questions. Meanwhile, on WhatsApp, this person says, my wife is among the 1,000 teachers employed, trained and given appointment letter, but not posted from Asari Toru. Please let the process be hastened. Thank you very much. This one is from Batubo in Buguma. Onyechi in Beda. Let's hear you quickly. Good morning.
Okay, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, UB Chairman.
Good morning.
Okay. You are talking about the employment. This employment was done in 2023. It is almost 2 years now. You are complaining of lopsided employment. When do we start to... when did it start? We are supposed to go back to the school to teach. There are empty schools. Go to School 3, Ebeda. You will see that the school has closed down. say school 1, say school 2, say school 3. Almost all the schools in the because there are absence of teachers. Why not allow this to the teachers to go and teach? Forget about the lopsided employment, 190, 160. The whole employment in Rivers State, no one is perfect. Allow them go. Because you're a big man. Your children are going to big schools. You don't want others to benefit from the school, from the government. Allow
All
the
right.
process to conclude.
All right, Onyeche, thank you very much. Just be mindful with the comments. That should, I've already said to us, try and be civil. So just be mindful with the comments. But that's too much we can take with the calls. We can't take any more. Quickly, Chief, you heard some of them, and the complaint is we don't have teachers in many of the schools.
Let me tell you, it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate, like we said. It takes a long time to build, but it takes minutes to destroy. What we met, it's a system that they are complaining about. Now, if you go to the rural areas, a lot of the rural areas, you'll find that there are no teachers. I agree. I'm visiting. I don't sit down. Our mantra is that we are not appointed to sit in an office. We are appointed to see things in the field and handle it instantly. So I am not the kind of board chairman that sits in my office. I take it up as a responsibility to visit a minimum of 3 schools per day, within and outside Port Harcourt. If you go to a school like let's look at secondary school like Rumukuda Girls, there are about 143 teachers there. If you go to maybe Holy Rosary, all right, or community secondary school, Degema, you find out that they are just about 10.
So what's responsible
that's
for
what
the
we are doing
disparity?
now. That's what I'm doing now. It's not a matter of rush it, no. And that's why we have not done any transfer since I came in. We must ensure that there is some level of redistribution. And the first step we have taken now is to repost the supervisory directors. Every supervisory director must be an indigene of that local government.
Are you in some way saying that some people bribe their way to remain in certain areas?
I will not say that they were
so
bribed.
that they are not transferred to certain areas. Is that what's happening?
Yes. So I won't say the word bribe, but that is what it is.
Lobby then.
Yes. If you go to even Rumeme they mentioned, they have over 90-something teachers there. All right. If you go to in fact, almost all the urban schools. So the question now is,
why are they not going to the communities?
Fine. So that's why the first step we have taken, the first transfer we have made now is to ensure that all supervisory directors must be from their own local government.
Do they have staff quarters or places for these teachers to stay in those schools, in those communities, in those rural areas?
Not all. Some has. Not all has.
Could that be why some people are not going there?
No, because everybody likes an urban area. There are 2 ways to handle matters like this. But like we said, if you look at the allocation, the budgetary allocation, or provision rather, by the governor of Rivers State, you will see that he has placed education as a priority. Meaning that most of these challenges we are facing now will soon be a thing of the past. All the schools that is being recently remodeled has staff quarters.
Okay. Unfortunately, time will not allow us. We're already out of time. We have to take a commercial and then the news follows at 9. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day. Jude will join us with Hello Port Harcourt.